If you've ever wondered why the sky is so far away from the earth, then this classical Nigerian folklore that has been passed down through the word of mouth for at least 500 years is a tale for your ears. It's a story you definitely want to hear. It speaks on the importance of caring for nature and the earth we live in. You see, in the beginning, the sky was born very close to the earth, and for years, the sky remained very close to the earth. The sky was barely an arm's stretch away, and was filled with everything humans needed in order to survive on it. All men had to do was to stretch their hand, and they could reach the sky and pull their daily needs from its vastness. The sky was very generous. It took it upon itself to become the custodian of man. "You can take all you need from me," the sky told the first humans. "I will feed you and I will nourish every generation you give birth to." So the humans did not have to plant their own food or cultivate the field or rear animals, for the sky always offered itself to the humans. So anytime the humans were hungry, they just reached up to the sky and broke off a piece of the sky and ate, just like that. Sometimes the sky tasted like ripe bananas. Sometimes it tasted like roasted potatoes. Sometimes it tasted like oranges, meat, wine. The sky was always delicious. You see, people had enough time on their hands, so they spent time making beautiful clothes. They painted beautiful pictures and sang songs at night and danced. The Grand King Oba was the chief of all the humans, and he dwelled in a very wonderful palace. His servants made beautiful artifacts out of the sky and filled his palace with these beautiful artifacts. People never thought about food because the sky always gave and the people gladly took. But as time went by, many people in the kingdom abused the blessing of the sky. They took and took until soon they were slicing a colossal chunk from the sky and tossing it aside. They took even when they didn't need. What's a little waste, Lord, saying the sky can spare it. The sky is vast, the sky can spare it. The attitude of the humans continued and continued, and eventually the sky got fed up. Who wouldn't be? So one day the sky fumed with clouds and crashed with thunder and tore itself with lightning. The sky said, "I offered you with the greatest gift, and yet you thank me by wasting the gift that I have given you. You are wasting my gift of food," the sky cried. "Do not take more than you can eat," the sky commanded. "I don't want to see pieces of me in the garbage anymore, or I will take my gift away from you, and never again will I feed you or your generations to come." By this, the people on earth trembled with fear. Enraged and terrified, the Grand King Oba called a meeting. He summoned all the people on earth, and the king said, "Let's be careful about how much food we take. We cannot survive without the food the sky gives us. And should the sky cease to feed us, our end will be terrible." He paused for a while and said, "You know what? Scrap that. The end of the human race is now. This is no time to be careful. This is time where power speaks. From today onwards, should anyone take more than they can eat or drink from the sky, your death shall be inevitable." The king commanded, and by this, all the people on earth obeyed. This new law became a major rule on earth. The number one commandment man was urged never to breach. So even when King Oba and all his generation had passed on, all the kings that followed ensured that every human obeyed, for their continuity depended on it. For a very long time, the people were careful. They listened and they obeyed the sky. They took only what they needed. Nothing more, nothing less. The humans kept the promise even during great festivals when they danced and drowned in wine and acted recklessly. Even in those moments, they obeyed. All the people obeyed, all but Chioma. Chioma was a very beautiful woman, yet she was never satisfied with anything. Her wrist jangled with the most beautiful gold bracelets, yet she haggled in the marketplaces looking for the brightest coral. She draped herself in the most exquisite African clothes, yet she wanted ones made of silk. Whatever Chioma had, she always wanted more, and more. So while her neighbors played and sang song, Chioma continued nibbling from every platter and throwing away all that she didn't want. She didn't even realize as she threw away the remains of her eba on the grounds or as she splattered her orange juice on the soil. As Chioma walked home, she looked up into the sky. The sky was so big and so huge. There was so much to take from the sky, and she knew that this would satisfy the deep hunger within her. Will the sky taste like jollof rice and chicken? She asked herself. Or will the moonlight feel like sobolo on my tongue? Just a taste, just a taste, Chioma said. And so Chioma sank her fingers deep into the sky and plucked a great chunk from the sky. Chioma started eating. She chewed and gulped, she chewed and gulped, and she stopped. She could not eat one more bite because she was satisfied. But as she was about to drop the rest of the food on the ground, the sky roared, and suddenly she remembered the rule of thumb, the iron rule. Chioma hurried home. Chioma hurried home, and then she called out, "Husband, you must help me eat the sky." When her husband came out and saw all the food she had pulled from the sky, he was so shocked, and so he queried her, "Chioma, why did you have to do that?" But Chioma said, "Does it even matter? Eat," she shouted, "but I am satisfied." And yet, remembering the sky's threat, he ate. "Children," she called, "you must help me eat the sky," Chioma said to her 3 children. But the food she put in front of them was so big, they got scared even at the sight of the food. "Mother," they called, "how can we possibly eat all this food?" But she shouted at them, "Eat, I say." "But we are satisfied." And yet they ate as they remembered the sky's threat. Her husband noticed that it was impossible for them to finish all the food that Chioma had pulled from the sky, so he suggested that they call upon their neighbors for help. Chioma immediately rushed out of the house. "Neighbors, neighbors," she started screaming in the street, "you must help me eat the sky." So everybody came out of their houses, and when they all saw the food that Chioma had pulled from the sky, everyone was scared. They asked Chioma, "Why did you have to do that?" But Chioma ignored everyone and shouted at them again, "Eat, eat, 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 I say, or we are starved." Eat, they ate when they remembered the sky's threat. Yet one piece of the sky remained on the ground. They tried to eat, but they were all satisfied. Chioma looked at the piece of food left on the ground and said, "Oh, relax, relax, it's okay, it's okay. The sky can spare." She convinced all of them to go back to their houses, and then they left that piece of food on the ground. Laying awake at night, Chioma gazed through her window and stared at the deep hole she had made in the sky and said, "Oh, whatever, the sky can spare." The next morning, when they all awoke, the sky did not offer itself. The sky rumbled and darkened and clashed. The people stood hungry in the streets and in the field. "I am sorry," Chioma cried, but the sky flew away above the tallest tree. The sky continued to fly above the tallest tree. "We will become hungry," all the people cried. Chioma cried, but the sky flew above the tallest mountain. "We will starved. They all went on their knees. They all cried. They begged the sky. And yet the sky continued to travel above everything on earth. It went so far that the humans could not touch it anymore. Shiome's tears poured upon the surface of the earth. She cried and all the other humans cried. They all blamed her and cursed her. But as their tears fell upon the earth found them so pitiful. And so the earth said to the humans, I will help you, but you must learn new ways of life. You must learn how to plow the field and sow the field to harvest your own food crop. I will allow you to use my skin to plant, but you must be sure to keep me clean all the time. If you do this, I'll forever let you plant your food on me and rear your animals on my skin. We promise, the humans said. We will never again break our promise. So from that time, the humans began to grow their own food on earth, and they did not depend on the sky again. So people, we must always remember that we have a promise to keep to the earth, keeping the earth clean, safe, and healthy. These days, there's been a lot of talk on climate change, and sometimes I wonder if you really take a moment to digest how much the planet Earth is changing. The future of the Earth's resources is in our hands, so we must conserve it. Really, at this point, I don't think we need some panel of scientists to weigh in on that. Here in Africa, most especially, the situation is detrimental. Much of Africa's land is being laid to waste. We are not protecting our environment. And trust me, it's about time we do that. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you enjoyed listening to the story why the sky is so far away from the earth, then please subscribe to this channel and like this video. If you have anything to share with me, I would also want to hear you in the comment section below. Let us remember that the earth is ours and we must keep the earth well. Bye.